guys, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing Heart Geeks, which is a collection of short stories about geeks in love, and it is edited by Susan Renee Page. If you want to be literal, you could also call this I less than 3 geeks, I guess, like my brother would, but I'm going with Heart Geeks because that's what's actually written out on the Goodreads page. Also, full disclosure that I won this book as part of a Goodreads giveaway and received a signed copy. What? So, and some really cool bookmarks. So, yay for me. Sorry, guys. So there are a lot of different love stories in here, and I'm just going to go through each of the short stories and tell you kind of what's happening and general impressions I had about it. The first one is Catch Me If You Can, Batman by Stephanie Kayne, and this is about Julie, who is attending her first Comic-Con, and she is dressed as Julie Newmar's Catwoman from the 1966 show, and she tries to go through the whole Comic-Con in character, full with tons of puns and kapsh sounds, and it's awesome. And her love interest is Batman, also from the 60s television show, and his name is Adam, which I love. They meet for the first time at this Comic-Con. It's not planned. They just happen to be wearing like matching costumes, and it gets them talking, and the more time they spend together, they're kind of like, maybe I like this guy, maybe it'll be cool. It is totally adorable. It's probably my favorite story in here. I love the like catchiness of this. Yeah, Julie's also kind of a shy person, and this Comic-Con experience of trying to stay in character the whole time is so that she'll push herself outside her boundaries and overcome some of her shyness. So it's got some awesomeness in that first story. So the second story in here is Goldstar by Layla Kelly. This is about a blogger, Willow, who lands her first big interview for her television blog, and it's for a movie reboot of her favorite show from the 80s, Goldstar, which is this science fiction space pirate western show. That sounds awesome. But the lead actor for the show is actually her former best friend and the guy that she made out with once, and her first love. And as they meet again, we get to see it from both of their sides, like what's happening. It switches points of view back and forth, and get to hear both Willow and I think it's Jack's story. That's not in here, I don't know. But we get to hear both Willow and her love interest, like, points of view on this thing and what happened in their former relationship, and how they both still kind of like each other, but they don't want to admit it. So it's really adorable, and I also love like the retro television thing. Like, I want to watch Goldstar. That sounds epic and amazing. The next story is In Love and Lore by Ray Laurie, and this is about a cosplayer, Kendra, who gets saved by a literal knight in shining armor as she's being harassed at a con because she's in this like elf costume with this dress, and like these guys think that that's an open opportunity to just hit on her, and she's not having it. So when this knight shows up and defends her, they start talking, and it's pretty cool. This is one of the stories that held less of my attention. Maybe it's because I'm not a gamer, though. Next up, we have the Wii Night by Aria Glaski. This is about a shy bookstore owner, Mira, as she meets her next door neighbor, who's this like mechanical engineer who just moves to town and doesn't know anybody, and the two of them slowly getting to know each other and being friends first. There is definitely a lot of Joss Whedon references in here, from Firefly to Buffy to the Avengers movie, and it's fun, and I love it, and she works in a bookstore, so I want her job. The next story is Love and Armor by Kristyn F. Brunson. This is about Dean, who met this girl Rose online while they were gaming, and they've kind of sort of been dating online, and this is their first time they're gonna meet in person. And she's brought her friends as backup in case he turns out to be a crazy person, but it's just like him, so it's kind of a bit intimidated by, like, she brought her friends and oh my goodness, are they gonna be okay? And also Dean has a secret that he needs to tell Rose and is worried about how he's gonna do that. This one's really cute, and I love the fact that it's solely narrated by the male. Like, there are a couple of stories where we have the male also, like, bouncing back and forth between the male and female. But this one's just the guy's perspective, which is cool. And I love the crazy antics that they get into while they're at this con. So it's cool. The Grand Tour by Leslie Ann Brown is about Penny, and her sister is very sick with this rare disease. And she sneaks into this research facility to try to seduce the lead researcher, Dr. Ian Rausch, to try to convince him to take her sister into his study. And it's adorable because there's clearly an attraction between the two of them, but it's not professional for him to act on his feelings if he's going to admit Penny's sister into the study. So it's this, like, forbidden love thing going on here. It's also a lot more rooted, I think, in... It's also got a lot more deeper things going on because the sister's so sick and because we're dealing with medical issues. But I really liked this story. The last story is Finding Our Way by Bella James. This is less geekier than the others, I think, unless you count being obsessed with horses. But there are lots of different kinds of geeks. So the main character, Ainsley, comes home after being away at college, and she's in this small town in Texas and helping her parents with their horse ranch, and she super loves horses, and she also works part-time at their library in town, which is cool. And her love interest is her high school crush, Luke, who has also come home after being off to college. And Luke is kind of forced to come home because his dad is really sick, and Luke has to take over running the ranch and supervise everything. And it's not exactly what he really wants because his dad's like a cattle rancher, and his passion is really in breeding horses. So we see these two people trying to reconcile, like, their family duties and wanting to help their families and keep their family farms going, but also trying to figure out how to navigate their own wants and what it is that they want to do. The romance part of this is kind of Ainsley trying to decide whether or not Luke actually likes her that way, or if he just likes hanging out with her because she's, like, the only person their age left in town. So that's really adorable. So on the whole, for this collection of short stories, it's really good and entertaining, and I loved it. Some of them started to feel repetitive though. Like, a lot of them happen at Comic-Cons or Game Cons, like when There's 2 stories where you have a literal knight in shining armor showing up. So, like, when you're starting to read a story and you're like, oh look, there's another knight in shining armor, didn't we just do that like 2 stories ago? And you can only find love at a con, like you can't find geek love somewhere else. So I don't know, maybe some of these short stories should have been, like, placed farther apart from each other. But on the whole, I like this mix, and I mean, you don't have to like every story in here either. Definitely Catch Me If You Can, Batman, Goldstar, and maybe the Whedonite are my favorites. So if, like me, you are a geek or love stories about geeks and nerds, and also love romance, this could be the perfect collection of short stories for you. I think I'm going to give this like a 3 stars overall, just because some of them felt repetitive. Some of these short stories are definitely more than 3 stars though. Maybe 3.5 stars overall. I don't quite know how I feel about this book as a whole coming out of this though. And because it's short stories, I also had a tendency to read one and then put the book away and forget that I was reading this. So that's probably my own personal problem though. So peace out, I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye!